Um, let's see, are we live? Yeah, I'm live. Mm, how much time does it take to go live? Yeah, we are live. So here is the stress, the tree of JavaScript documentation reading, and it doesn't show me live here. Normally it does. Yep. I can be sure. Yeah, right now. Um, and yeah, one thing I figured out, like my friend told me this, that the one viewer that I see here is actually myself, and yeah, it's good that I have my violin. So, so where were we yesterday? Yesterday we left off before objects, and objects are something that are very important when it comes to JavaScript because everything in JavaScript is basically an object. And so let's go. That's kind of weird. In JavaScript, most things are objects from core JavaScript features like arrays to browser APIs built on top of JavaScript. Yep, you can even create your own objects to encapsulate related functions and variables. So exactly, JavaScript is very important for objects are very important for JavaScript programming. Classes in JavaScript. Basically, classes are syntactical sugar. Uh, and let's go. We have six topics today. I think we'll do this only because I think that it would be more concise if we go one topic and one topic every day. So it will be more easier for me also to my cheeks. Um, Fundamentals, JavaScript, object syntax, and we'll go object basic to make a, to begin make a okay. What is this file? I shouldn't open basic. Let's see. Let's just copy that. One thing I should do. I should keep it here and let's close this. HTML boilerplate script tag. Okay. Yeah. I prefer. Let's just copy this and go back. I prefer to use the JavaScript that is not part of the screen, like the HTML. So we think we'll go in this way, main.js. Yeah. So they are creating an object person. Now open the JavaScript console, enter person into it, and press. And, yep. So basically, they want us to define an object person and go to the console. So just go. We should go live first. Let's go and person. It's an object, an empty object. What else can we expect? And the person you should get a result similar to this. Yep. Basically, this one we got. Congratulations. First object. Yep. Mm, an example of objects with different types of fields. Uh, Yep, let's check at this. So object with different types of field, and now we can just see what these are. Let's go one by one. Probably console logging would be a good option, but yeah. We don't. Okay, debugger is on. Yes. How do we stop this? I guess. Yep. Let's remove this and let's go. Person dot name dot zero. Yep. And what do all person dot age, person dot, does it return something? Go further. Object name. These are all objects are defined. Yeah, one feedback that I got, I should increase the size by I guess 2. Yeah. So what is going on here? Well, an object is made. You have got some data from file. So this is how an object is defined. Uh, Value of an object member can be pretty much anything. And yep, we got that. Dot notation, we got that. Um, you can for example, if you want to call uh, let's say person dot name. So if you want to get person and you want to get the value name, so one thing you can do, you can use a dot notation, or you can also do it NAME and it'll give you the same. Mm, okay, where were we? Hmm. Objects as object. Yep, objects can have properties that are objects anything. I told you about bracket notation. So setting object members. Yep. So we can all like we have person. We can set person dot. Let's say hmm, say color is equals to blue, and now we can just we know that value has been added to the person object. So basically this we can also create functions like that in a similar way where we can add functions to the person object. One useful aspect of bracket notation is that it can be used to set not only numbers value but members names too. Let's say we wanted the mm, users to be able to store custom value tags in their people data by typing the member name and value into two text input. We could get those values like this. Yep. Yeah, I understand what they are telling. Yep. A very similar thing. So what they are saying that we can like make two variables and then using the bracket notation we can easily call them. One more benefit of the bracket notation is like let's say sometimes we have uh, a, a key like let me define it. A B C dash X Y Z. So this dash is not allowed in JavaScript. So what we can do, we can add this in a string and then let's say it has a value of 20, any value will count. And now we want to call that abc.xyz. If you call it by a, b, uh, c, a, b, c, we can't. But so we have to call it like this, where we get the value 20. So this is something what basically it is used to call strings. So, and you can use it. What is this? So the this keyword is associated with that object. You have noticed the mention slightly strange and I might have looked like. You are probably wondering that this what this is this keyword refers to the current object and the code is being written inside. So in this case, this is equivalent to person. So why not just write person instead? Well, when you have to create a single object literal, it is not so useful. But when you create more than one, this enables you to use the same method definition for every object you create. Yep, let's illustrate what we mean. So yep, uh, if we have functions like this, we have two objects, person one, which has a name and introduce self, and person two, name and introduce self function. In this case, person one does introduce outputs, uh, and the outputs for them all are almost the same, barring the name. Even though the method code is exactly the same in each case, it isn't usually useful when you're writing an object literal by hand, but it will be essential when you start using constructors to create more than one object with a single object definition. Then that subject is the next section. So, yeah, so one thing you can do to like make this better is remove this introduce self function outside the class, and then we can pass on the person using the call, apply, bind methods, which with call and apply we can get the answer. Hi, I am Chris for this object, and hi, I am Deepti for this object. And with bind, you can create a new function, which you can create a new function, introduce Chris, and that new function you will get by using bind. We'll get through it as they say. Introducing constructors function. So create person name const object or name of introduce self console.log. Hi, I am this the name with an object. Yep. So that's also something that we can do. This is a good example for using this keyword. And an example where you don't need to learn like higher level like intermediate level concepts like apply bind call, I guess. Mm, Const salva is equals to create person salva. Yep. So we are creating a new object every time and for every person, and they all have been uh, created for every new person. So yep. So arrays are basically arrays are objects, strings are objects. So uh, they have a value, and then they also have methods which are like the split method. So uh, that's what they are referring to. And test your skills. Let's go. Object prototypes. So all these methods that belong to all of the objects in our code are in the object prototypes, and uh, those could be used by you to get certain functionality with your objects. So uh, let's go the prototype chain in the browser console. Try creating an object later. Okay, let's do this. Hello, greetings from Madrid. Madrid. This is an object which is with one data property city and one method breathe. If you type the object name followed by a period into the console like my object, then the console will pop up the list of all properties available. Yep. So uh, we have only provided these two, uh, let's say key value pairs, and if I type my object dot, and we get all these properties because that those are basically the prototype of an object, and uh, because of that we get all these properties. So um, because they are passed on by the object to our object. And the object. Yes, what to string those? What basically toString is used for arrays to, like we talked about yesterday, to convert them into a string and add commas in between. Join is used to add anything in between as a delimiter. Even objects in JavaScript have built-in property which is for prototype. The prototype uh, is itself an object, so the prototype will have its own prototype making what is called a prototype chain. Yeah. So uh, 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 what they are saying that uh, we can find that every object has this prototype, and that prototype also has its own prototype. So that forms the object chain. So I want to check what are these functions. So yep. So basically, yep. Hmm. Constructor has own property. So you can see that proto has its own prototype, and all of the objects also have. Hmm. Let's go. We can use this function to get the prototype of an object. Let's try this. Object dot get prototype of my object, and we get the same of, so we get the prototype, and as we can see the prototype has its own proto, and let's just check the dash dash proto dash dash underscore. Huh, this is a function. No, why I'm here? It is not a function basically. Okay. Okay, so proto is null. Let's go. Mm, this is an object called object.prototype, and it is most basic prototype. Yep, they are talking about. Okay, so it has not always object prototype. Try this. Const my new date. Object is equals to my date. Do object is equals to object dot get prototype of object. Console log object while object. So this course creates a date object which walks through the prototype chain logging in the prototype. It shows us the prototype of my data. Date is date dot prototype object, and the prototype of this is object dot prototype. So yep, that's how the chain works. So shadowing properties. Shadowing. This is how happens if you define a property in an object. When a property with the same name is defined in the object prototypes. Let's see. No, okay. So basically, this then the latest defined is used. So we create a new date, console log the year. Now we create a new function, and that is overridden. So that this is basically shadowing. For that particular context, it is overridden. So as they also write, it is very predictable, but it does not get overridden for all of the other objects. It gets overridden for the particular object. Setting a prototype. There are various ways of setting an object prototype in JavaScript, and here we will describe two: object.create and constructor. The object.create method creates a new object that allows you to specify an object that will be used as the new object prototype. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Hmm. But why do we need to do this? Does it make any sense? You can just create. Okay, for inheritance purpose, that could be useful. Yep, I do get. We use create method and create. To create a new object with a person prototype is as its prototype. Now we can call create on new object, and the prototype provides its implementation. Using a constructor. In JavaScript, all functions have a property named prototype. When you call a function as a constructor, this property is set as the property of newly constructed objects by convention in the property name proto. Yep, so we got to know this. Set the prototype of a constructor. We can ensure that all objects created with that constructor are given the prototype. Hmm. A sign is used to add a prototype method. So it's no big deal. Here we create an object person prototype with which has greet method or person. They are talking about constructors, so new person. No, they will have like will objects created using person will get person prototype as a prototype which automatically contains the greet method. This also explains why we said earlier that prototype of my date is called date.prototype. It's the prototype property of date constructor. Yep. Own properties. The objects we create using the person constructor above have two properties. A name property which is set in the constructor so it appears directly on person object, a greet method which is set on prototype in the prototype. It's a common it's common to see this pattern in which methods are defined on prototype, but data properties are defined in the constructor. This because methods are usually the same for every object when we create, while we often want each object to have its own value for data properties, just as here where every person has different name. Properties that are defined directly in the object like name here are called own properties. You can check whether a property has own property using static has own. Yep, we saw this here. Where did it go? One minute. Dot. Okay. Hmm. What's person dot? Person dot has own property. Function false. But it does have its own property now. Okay. So I guess we will have to provide a name here as own property. Let's say age and it's true. Cool. Prototype and inheritance. Prototypes are powerful and very flexible feature in JavaScript, making it possible to reuse code and combine objects. In particular, they support a version of inheritance. Inheritance is a feature of object-oriented programming that lets programmers express idea that some objects in a system are more specialized version of other objects. Yep. For example, if we are modeling a school, we might have a professor and student. We know what inheritance is, and we saw that how we can inherit property through prototype of and another object. So uh, that's what they are saying. So inheritance is a computer science concept, so you know what that is. Oops. Object-oriented programming, classes and instances. So classes are basically like we saw the constructor methods, and classes are basically a syntactical sugar on those. So which allows us to define properties and then create new objects using those classes. Let's go. Classes and instances. Instances are basically the objects when we model a problem in terms of so professor class, and a professor class has properties, constructor, and methods. Now we can create a new professor. Inheritance. Suppose in school we want to represent student, unlike professor, student can't create people. Don't teach particular subject below. A student. Exactly. You can use the extend keyword to uh, add inheritance, and then the constructor will have both of the properties. So name and your encapsulation. So encapsulation is an object-oriented programming computer science concept. We know what encapsulation is, and classes are used to uh, like implement encapsulation. Constructors in JavaScript provide us with something like a class definition, enabling us define the shape of an object. Prototype change seems to like a natural way to implement inheritance. Yep. Okay, we are done with object-oriented programming. Let's check out classes. What are the This will be interesting, much more practical stuff in this module than these both modules have much more practical stuff, and I guess these three modules actually. Let's go. Classes in JavaScript. In last article, we introduced some basic concepts of object-oriented programming, OOPS, and discussed an example where we used OOPS principle to model professor and student in a school. We also talked about the classes constructor, class person, we write all the variables, and then we add the constructor. It's actually the newer way to make a class, and I actually like the syntax a lot. They have updated the document, and I think that's very good. Omitting constructor. Hmm. Yep. So they don't. There is nothing to add as available, and so they are omitting constructor. We talked about inheritance and hardware encapsulation. Um, got to know about inherit, and we are calling the super. Uh, yep. Private methods. You can have private methods as well as private data properties, just like private data properties. Their names start with hash. Hmm. For making private methods, you can start with hash, and that's something interesting. I didn't know we can have private methods also in JavaScript, but yeah. So this could be a benefit of using like not the constructor method, but the method where you define a class, because here you can add private methods also. I don't know if you can add private methods in that constructor method. Working on JSON, JavaScript object notation. It's a structure for passing on data through JavaScript. Areas JSON. So this is how JSON looks. So basically everything has a double colon, uh, all the key value pairs, and it is delimited by commas, and there's a colon in between. So JSON is a string, so it does not have methods. It requires double quotes to be used around strings and property names. Every single misplaced comma or colon can cause JSON file to go wrong and not work. It takes the form of any data type that is valid for uh, I think to show how we can make use of some JSON formatted data on website building stuff. It's not bad. Converting between objects and text. So JSON has an object which is basically, let's say I want to console.log JSON dot stringify person. If I remove this, so now I'll have that JSON string console log. So you can see this is the JSON string, and let's store it somewhere. Const a is equals to, and now for getting back the JavaScript, console dot log JSON dot stringify a. So oh sorry, pass, and we get the JavaScript object again. What happens when we add a function in it? Um, yep, it just omits the function. It removes it completely. Well done. So we know that object building practice. Let's bounce some balls. Okay. Okay, so this is basically a tutorial. Um, they are modeling a ball, and they are drawing it, and they are updating its values by animation. So, oh, this is something very interesting. They are also adding collision detection. Hmm. I actually want to make this. This is looking interesting, but I don't have enough time today. I think I'll continue this from yesterday, from tomorrow, and we'll go and make this. This looks very interesting actually. So we'll follow along, see what they are doing, and make this tomorrow. Did I say yesterday? Yeah. Okay, guys. I think this was it. We'll continue from JavaScript objects and object building practice. Where did I leave? Working with JSON data. So we'll continue from this, and bye bye. Sayonara.